Hey, if you love your motherland, smash that subscribe button right now and show this channel some red, white, and blue love. Let's go! The sun over Camp Liberty, Afghanistan, was a white-hot coin pressed against the sky, turning the air into a shimmering haze above the flight line. F-18s roared overhead. Marines in desert camis hustled crates of munitions, and somewhere a klaxon wailed for yet another alert. Amid the controlled chaos, a lone figure in the Army combat uniform stood motionless near the edge of the tarmac, arms folded, watching the controlled madness like a chess master studying a board. Her hair was pulled into a tight, flawless bun. Her boots were scarred but polished. On her left shoulder sat a black and gold patch that read, 1st Special Forces Operational Detachment Delta. And on her right sleeve, circled in red by every meme page on the internet, was a single subdued chevron with 3 rockers, 3 arcs, and crossed muskets beneath a star nobody had ever seen on a living soldier outside of a museum. Rear Admiral Mark Bulldog Callahan, commander of Carrier Strike Group 12, stepped off the MH-60S Seahawk with the swagger of a man who owned every inch of ground he touched. Gold wings gleamed on his chest, for thick stars glittered on each collar, and the white combination cover sat tilted just enough to say, "I'm in charge, and I know it." His staff, 2 captains, 3 commanders, and a terrified lieutenant, trailed behind like ducklings. The admiral was famous for 2 things: sinking a frigate in a live-fire exercise because the captain blinked first, and never, ever losing a pissing contest. He spotted the lone soldier standing there, hands now clasped behind her back, eyes hidden behind wraparound shades. Something about the way she stood, perfectly still, perfectly balanced, irritated him. Nobody stood that calm when an admiral landed. He decided to remind her who ran the world. Callahan strode straight toward her, boots kicking up dust, aides scrambling to keep up. Cameras on phones were already out. Sailors and Marines smelled blood in the water. The admiral stopped 2 feet in front of her, looked her up and down like she was a midshipman who forgot to shave, and barked loud enough for half the base to hear. "Name and rank, troop, and take those damn sunglasses off when you address a flag officer." The woman did not flinch. She reached up slowly, removed the shades, and folded them into her cargo pocket. Hazel eyes the color of a rifle smoke locked onto his. "Sir," she said, voice low, almost gentle. "Master Sergeant Riley Quinn, United States Army. Good afternoon." Callahan barked a laugh that made his aides chuckle nervously. "Master Sergeant? That's cute. I thought Delta only let real operators wear that tab. You sure you're not lost, sweetheart? This is a Navy evolution." A ripple of laughter spread. Phones tilted higher. Riley Quinn's expression never changed. "I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be, Admiral." Callahan leaned in, grinning like a shark. "You're just a recruit, I assume. Look at you, standing out here like you own the base. Who's your commanding officer, little girl? I want a word with whoever let an E-8 play dress-up in a combat zone." The laughter grew louder. Someone yelled, "Get her, sir." Riley tilted her head a fraction. "My commanding officer is currently in the SCIF briefing the Secretary of Defense, sir. But if you'd like, I can radio him." Callahan waved a hand. "Save the attitude, Sergeant. I outrank every swinging soul on this dust bowl today. You will address me as sir and show some respect." Riley Quinn took 1 step forward. The laughter died instantly. Something in the set of her shoulders made the air feel 10 degrees colder. She spoke again, still calm, still quiet, but every syllable carried like a .50 cal round. "Admiral Callahan, United States Navy, service number 539-74-2189. Naval Academy class of 1994, current flagship USS Abraham Lincoln. Fitness reports outstanding until 2019 when you received a letter of reprimand for ordering your Chief of Staff to falsify a material readiness report." "That about right." Callahan's grin faltered. His aides froze. Riley continued, softer still. "You asked for my rank, sir. I gave you the one on my sleeve. But since you seem confused, allow me to clarify my current billet." She reached into her left shoulder pocket and produced a small leather wallet. She flipped it open. Inside, revealing a gold eagle clutching arrows and olive branches, encircled by stars. By order of the President of the United States and the Secretary of Defense, acting under Title 10 authority, I am currently serving as Base General Joint Special Operations Task Force Liberty, with command authority over every service member Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine, and Space Force inside this perimeter. That includes you, Admiral. The desert went dead silent except for the distant whine of a drone. Callahan stared at the credentials, then at the single star on her chest that nobody had noticed under the Delta tab, then back at the credentials. His mouth opened. Nothing came out. Riley closed the wallet with a soft snap. So, Admiral, when you're ready to conduct your dog and pony show for the Secretary tomorrow, my staff will coordinate. Until then, I recommend you and your party return to the Navy compound before I have you escorted. We're a little busy keeping the world safe while you practice your salute. She paused, then added, almost kindly, and the next time you call a woman sweetheart in my OR, I will personally smoke you until you puke blood in front of your entire task force. Are we clear, sir? Callahan's face cycled through red, white, and a shade of green usually reserved for seasick ensigns. He snapped the most rigid salute of his 34-year career, forearm trembling. Crystal, General. Riley returned a perfect salute, parade ground salute. Dismissed. The Admiral spun on his heel and marched back to the hello, aides sprinting after him. The Seahawk lifted off in a cyclone of dust while Marines and sailors stood with mouths open, filming every second. But that was only the moment that went viral. The real story, the one the public never saw, began 6 hours later in the classified SCIF buried under the airfield. Riley Quinn sat alone at the head of a steel table, uniform sleeves rolled up, scars visible on her forearms. In front of her sat a single folder stamped eyes only SAP/strap 3. On the screen behind her, satellite footage showed a convoy of black Toyota Hilux trucks racing across the Syrian desert toward a mountain compound everybody pretended didn't exist. The door hissed open. A one-star Air Force general and a Navy SEAL captain walked in, both looking like they'd aged 10 years since breakfast. General Quinn, the Air Force brigadier began. We have confirmation. They moved the package. HVT-0 is inside the cave complex tonight. Intel says he's planning to launch within 72 hours. Riley didn't look up from the folder. Define launch. The SEAL captain swallowed. A radiological dispersal device. Dirty bomb. Enough cesium-137 to make half of Manhattan glow for a century. They're calling it the 4th of July surprise. Riley closed the folder. Then we have 71 hours to ruin their party. She stood. For the first time, the exhaustion showed. Lines around her eyes, a slight limp when she favored her left leg. The woman who had humiliated an admiral was human after all. Call the teams. Devil 6, Mako 1, and the Brits from Hereford. We go in tonight. No air support, no drones, no artillery. Quiet as ghosts. The SEAL hesitated. Ma'am. General, with respect, you're still recovering from the Kandahar op. Your lung. My lung will hold until the mission is done, Captain. After that, it can collapse all at once. She walked to the map wall and tapped a ridgeline. I'll take point with Devil 6. You'll insert here. If I'm not out in 20 mics, nuke the site from orbit. That's not hyperbole. I've already uploaded the request. Both officers stared. Riley gave a tired half-smile. Relax. I don't plan on dying tonight. I still owe Admiral Callahan an apology for making him cry on the internet. 12 hours later, deep in the Hindu Kush, Riley Quinn, Base General Delta Operator, the only living recipient of the classified star rank created after September 11th for commanders too sensitive to name, led a 6-man team into the mouth of hell. They moved without night vision because the enemy had next-gen detectors. They moved by starlight and memory and raw trust. Halfway in, they found the first surprise. Russian Spetsnaz advisors training the terrorists. Then the second surprise. The dirty bomb wasn't a bomb. It was 12 backpack nukes, Soviet-era RA-115s thought lost when the wall fell. And the final surprise. The man overseeing it all wasn't some bearded jihadist. He was American. a former CIA case officer everyone believed died in Leavenworth. He turned, saw Riley in the dim red light of the cave, and smiled like he'd been waiting years for this reunion. "Well, well," he said, "if it isn't little Riley Sullivan from Chicago. They gave you a star? The same girl I recruited at 18. Riley raised her suppressed 18 Malawian kwaches. Name's Quinn now, and you sold out your country, Travis." The traitor shrugged. "Country sold me first. But enough chit-chat." He pressed a button on his watch. The cave lights blazed on. 50 rifles rose. Riley's voice cut through the glare. "You sure you want to do this the loud way?" Travis laughed. "You're outnumbered 10-1, darling. Even you can't." He never finished, because outside the cave, in the blackest part of the night, every member of the Joint Special Operations Task Force, SEALs, Delta, Rangers, Green Berets, Marine Raiders, British SAS, Polish GROM, had silently taken positions in the last 6 hours under Riley's secret orders. The second Travis hit that button, the mountain erupted in controlled surgical violence. 15 minutes later, it was over. 12 suitcase nukes secured. Traitor in zip ties, 0 American casualties. Riley limped out into the dawn, blood soaking her side where a round had found the gap in her plate carrier. A young Delta operator ran up, eyes wide. "General, we gotta get you to a surgeon." She waved him off, coughed once, red flecking her lips. "In a minute. First I have a call to make." She keyed her satellite phone. A familiar, arrogant voice answered. "This better be good." "I'm in the middle of—" "Admiral Callahan," Riley rasped. "Just thought you'd like to know your strike group can stand down from DEFCON 3. We fixed it." "You're welcome." Silence. Then, very quietly, "Thank you, General." Riley smiled through the blood. "You still owe me push-ups for the sweetheart thing. I'll collect when I get home." She hung up, looked at the sunrise painting the mountains gold, and finally let the medic lower her onto a stretcher. 3 weeks later, back at Bragg, a quiet ceremony took place in a secure room with no cameras. The president pinned a second star on her collar, the real kind this time, not the shadow rank, and whispered, "The country doesn't even know what you did, Riley, but we sleep better because of it." She just nodded. "Tell that to my mom next time she asks why I never call." And somewhere on the internet, the original 10-second clip of Admiral Callahan turning white and saluting a Master Sergeant kept racking up views. The comments section exploded with fire emojis and "She owns my soul" and "Protect this woman at all costs." Nobody but a handful of people would ever know the full story. But every man and woman who served that deployment, Navy, Army, Marine, Air Force, when they saw that lone figure with the quiet eyes and the impossible star, they didn't see a meme. They saw the reason they were still alive. And that, America, is the true story of the day. And Admiral laughed, until the base general made him freeze in fear. Now I want to hear from you. Drop in the comments what state or town you're watching from right now. Are you in Texas, New York, California, Alaska? Let me know where the Patriots are holding it down tonight. And if this story gave you chills, hit that like button. Share it with someone who bleeds red, white, and blue. And we'll see you in the next one. Freedom out.